What up, Dokkanners? This is going to be a very speculation heavy video, as a couple of interesting points have been brought up recently online discussing how exactly the Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 are going to be coming to Dokkan Battle. At this very moment, we know nothing more than the simple fact that Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 will be coming, but in terms of how they're going to be here, there's actually some very interesting points, both for and against them, showing up as DOKKANFEST exclusives. So this is going to be very much speculation heavy. If you have your own thoughts, theories, and takes, feel free to share them in the comments down below, but I urge you guys to please be civil, as there's nothing confirmed. This is all just speculation, which is one of the fun things about Dokkan. When we're looking forward to something, we like to theory craft. We like to think about what could potentially be dropping. So the main reason behind this interesting debate that's been sort of unfolding online is based on a couple of lines in the video, the Global Dokkan Producers Letter video. Starting with this one, straight from the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie, Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 will finally arrive at the Dokkan Festival. Finally arrive at the Dokkan Festival. Now, based on this wording, it doesn't necessarily explicitly suggest that this is going to be a dual Dokkan Festival or a double Dokkan Festival exclusive sort of situation. This just simply says that they're going to be there at the Dokkan Festival. So, you know, maybe they are, maybe they're not. Another point right here, they will both be featured simultaneously in the Dokkan Festival. Now, if anything, this pretty much suggests that they are going to be consolidated on the same banner. How that's going to be the case? Are they going to be featured as banner units, SSRs, or are they going to be both featured simultaneously as sort of like a co-headlining unit sort of situation where we've got two Dokkan Festival exclusives on the same banner? It's possible. You could go either way depending on how you interpret that. And then the last little point here is right here. Plus, together with the opening of Gamma 1's and Gamma 2's Dokkan events. So here, Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 are separate, and it's all possessive, but then notice at the end it says Dokkan events plural. Could the plural events have to do with maybe varying levels of difficulty, where it is one event but it has multiple levels of difficulty, so it's being considered as multiple Dokkan events? Or does Gamma 1 have his own separate Dokkan event, Gamma 2 has his own separate Dokkan event? So we're going to just basically explore both sides of the argument here, because there are some valid points and some precedent to suggest both claims. Starting with, they are not Dokkan Festival exclusive. So shout out to Havohai. Go check out his video. I will link that in the description. It's actually because of that video that I had, I'm very open-minded, so I wanted to see what the arguments were, and it actually is very valid. So he is not of the belief that Gamma 1 and 2 will be Dokkan Fest exclusives, just Dokkan Fest featured, which is honestly, even without any sort of proof, based on the way that they word this, that's a valid claim. Here are 4 units that have Dokkan events but are non-Dokkan Fest exclusive units: Mass Saiyan, Tapion, L'Oreal Trunks, and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Now, granted, the Heroes units, you know, they're a bit of an outlier, so if you want to rule them out, you can, but still, you got 2 points of proof right here. Masked Saiyan released back in October of 2017, and when his banner released, shout out to Proton for helping me with the research on this, this was the banner that he released on. Everybody here, except for Masked Saiyan, is a Dokkan Festival, and he is making his debut on this banner, a Dokkan Festival banner. But he is obviously not Dokkan Fest exclusive. So that's valid. Okay, interesting. Then if we look at Tapion, Tapion released May 25th, 2018. Looking at his banner, it wasn't even a Dokkan Festival banner. It was a Rising Dragon Carnival banner. This Tapion appears for the first time on a Rising Dragon Carnival banner, and he gets his own Dokkan event. Seems interesting. So if a unit that shows up on this were to get a Dokkan event, then why wouldn't Gamma 1 and 2 receive their own Dokkan event, singular, or even their own respective Dokkan events, plural? So there is precedent behind that. Dokkan Assets also kind of corroborates this with the same sentiment. Gamma 1 and 2 have Dokkan events, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're Dokkan Festival. There are units with Dokkan events that aren't Fest, like Masked Saiyan. So Masked Saiyan alone is kind of the main focal point behind this argument. But on the flip side, if we were to look at this from the other way, shout out to Misaka here, if we look back at the merged Zamasu Spirit Sword Trunks double Dokkan Festival banner, this was one singular banner with 2 Dokkan Festival units making their debut at the same time. So, just like there is precedent for units to not have Dokkan Festival exclusives but also have Dokkan events, we also have banners with double Dokkan Festival units both getting their own separate Dokkan events on the same banner. So again, Gamma 1 and 2 kind of fit the bill for that sort of an outlook as well, don't they? It's kind of just up to how you interpret the lingo. It's really just up to you and how you interpret it. There's no right or wrong answer in theorizing either way. Ultimately, we will be finding out in a couple of days. So honestly, this all ends up being for nothing. But I still think that this is just fun to speculate how this is all going to play out. Now, in thinking about all of this, I came to the very startling conclusion that these units are going to be dropping in a way that I'm not personally looking forward to. So here's what I think is ultimately going to be happening here. Notice how in the video, hopefully you saw my previous one, they talk about how part 1 happened in August. Part 2 of the movie collaboration is going to be happening here. I think that that is sort of potentially leading to maybe a part 3. This very fragmented, unusual rollout of this schedule leads me to believe that they're going to be a culmination of everything else, where they finally bring out Beast Gohan, Orange Piccolo, and all of those guys. The reason why I feel like that is going to be more of a realistic possibility is because of the fact that there are some very interesting restrictions that can be in place here because of Toei or because of the whole movie rights stuff. Now, I'm not going to go to details on that, pretending like I know exactly how that works, but that is definitely a thing where games have to sometimes sort of, you know, pay heed to the studio and make sure that they don't advertise in a way that violates their licensing or whatever you want to call it. Based on how all of these different games have been marketing Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 with literally like zero representation on Orange Piccolo or Beast Gohan, there could just basically be like an embargo right now happening with that, right? Maybe they're not ready to advertise those bigger, badder characters. Maybe they want to save them for something later on down the line, while also still giving players some sort of a semblance of a superhero celebration. So with parts 1 and 2 sort of being like the appetizers, there could potentially be a part 3 later on down the line. Now, the reason why I feel like Gamma 1 and 2 are going to be Dokkan Festival characters on this upcoming celebration is based on the wording here. We are planning to hold this around the end of October for the international version, and notice how she says after the events start on the JP version. So JP will have a little bit of a leg up on global, where they will probably get the stuff a little bit early, maybe like a week, couple of days earlier, however they do that. Now, the reason why I think this confirms a Halloween banner is based on how things play out in previous years. Look at JP's Halloween right here, October 25th to November 7th, and here's Global's Halloween, October 20th to 3rd of November. So if we look at Halloween for JP, we actually look at the campaign here, we've got all of the Halloween goodies, but we see no banner. There is no banner here, except for just all of the fun little activities that you would do with a typical Halloween celebration. Whereas if you look at the global side, the global Halloween celebration shows all of the same stuff, as well as some lingering part 2s from previous celebrations, which is fine. But in terms of the core Halloween stuff, we see all of that down here. And then we also see a full of surprises Dokkan Festival banner. This is basically like a little hodgepodge of a bunch of random Dokkan Festival units from the previous year. So this is kind of like a little goodie bag, or I don't know, Halloween trick-or-treat bag for players to summon on if they want to get their hands on some of these random Dokkan Festival characters. What I think is going to happen is that Gamma 1 and 2 are going to be featured on this banner along with a bunch of other Dokkan Festival exclusive characters, but they're going to be featured on the Halloween banner. JP doesn't get a Halloween banner, which is why they will probably get their banner a little bit sooner than Global, and then Global will probably have a different featured list, and they'll obviously have Gamma 1 and 2 in here. I think this is like probably the safest way to integrate superhero without completely collapsing the schedule altogether. Having to shift everything back another couple weeks could be catastrophic. So maybe that's how they're going to play this out, but that's what I personally think. Now, I could be completely wrong on this, who knows, but based on everything that I've seen in terms of being for or against this Dokkan Fest exclusive theory, this is what I think is going to play out, because I think it checks off on everything. JP gets the banner first, Global gets it later. Global also has the quest stuff going on right now. Once all that stuff sort of resolves, we move into the Halloween celebration. That's when we get that banner. Plus, we have the whole being featured simultaneously, being in the Dokkan Festival. It all just kind of fits the ambiguity of these sentences. This Dokkan Festival grab bag is going to be where Gamma 1 and 2 show up, in my opinion. That's just my theory. Those are just my thoughts. I have no clue if I'm going to be right or wrong, but let me know what you guys think. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on the fate of these upcoming Gamma 1 and 2 characters? Do you think they're going to be headliners? Do you think they're going to be Dokkan Fest exclusives? Or are they going to be featured SSRs for an otherwise upcoming massively hyped celebration featuring the big boys, Gohan, Piccolo, and Cell Max? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more Dokkan content in the future and click the notification bell so that you'll let YouTube know I'm going to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thanks again. Stay tuned, and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.